Hi there, my name is Foxxyboi, and welcome back to another DJ interview with CoryKuma. CoryKuma, tell us about preparing for your Club Fin set.
So I had a lot of time recently, and so I listened to a lot of podcasts from some of the latest music. I dug through a lot of my catalog and just try to find everything to fit the theme I was trying to build for this. Um, and then yeah, I built out a crate of over 120 songs, and then I had to pare that down and kind of uh, pick where I wanted to go. I also for this particular set also was I'm was trying to tell more of a story and kind of a mood. And once I was listening to the music, it kind of hit me of what I wanted to do. I will say the set is you can tell made it while listening on the train. It's it's a very driving set if you so it's yes, it's like so it was, there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of locomotion, which, um it just kept it flowed. So when you prepare a set, it's like I picked the start, and I knew how I wanted it to end. And so it's just kind of building all the pieces to get from point A to B.
Oh, okay, so that's interesting. Now, I know that you have DJ'd for Furality before in Legends. And then I know that you've continued to kind of be out there on some DJ scenes, but what have been your experiences within the VR DJ club scene? What do you think? What's going on?
So I've done quite a few of the DJ clubs. I've done a lot of private events, kind of like one-off events that happen. It's 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 interesting of how the scene is constantly growing and evolving. Um, some clubs wax, some wane, but overall it's been kind of um, growing quite a bit. So, but yeah. And there's something for everyone all the time. But yeah, as far as my personal journey, it's just trying to get as many sets out there and trying to play to different things. I've done some different theme. I've done like my trance for kind of like general auditions, but also I've done like some special events and like do like some birthday parties and things where it's like I've done happy hardcore. I've done um, um, like a '90s tribute set. I've done a lot of covers, and then yeah, and then still get picked up to do some uh, more housey sets, which is a little more big room and house covers, dance pop, so sort of styles.
Now, we were having a little bit of a private conversation before this interview, and what was your first DJ set again? Remind me.
Right. So the funny story is the first DJ set I ever saw in VR, and heard and seen was my own set at Furality Legends. So I never didn't have the opportunity to make it to Furality Luma, and so there was a friend of mine that performed uh, at Luma, and I applied for Legends later on and got in, and it's like, okay, cool, we're doing a DJ set. It's in VR. All right. And then when I got into because I was the opening set for Legends, so that was the very first and the first VR club I'd ever attended was Club Fin, and it was my own set up there for that one. It was incredible. It's kind of an experience that can't really be replicated after that.
Well, this begs the question, what got you into the DJing scene, or what was your inspiration to begin spinning?
So it was actually I'm one of the legions of COVID DJs ultimately, um, but I was actually during early on in 2020. I was on Twitch, and I was kind of doing a lot of things on the viewer side of Twitch, where we're doing a lot of raids and so on. And what ended up doing is I made friends with a lot of the DJs and music producers, and as I made friends with them, um, um, yeah, Achilles, Coffee and Trance, Popo Bandit, they said, "Oh yeah, you should learn to DJ, and you should do it on Twitch." And I'm like, "Okay," not knowing what I was getting into, particularly. But yeah, that was quite. That's I've had a lifelong love of music and love DJ sets and everything, and it was kind of. I'll say this by befriending and getting to know them. It's like I realized the barriers of entry into DJing were a lot less than I would have thought they were, and so that's what kind of allowed me, and then also thanks to the timing of the world, uh, had the time to actually pick up it as a hobby and kind of grow. And then also just being able to do it on Twitch, where I had met a lot of people, and then kind of also met a lot of people in the trance, like actual trance producers and so on along the way. That kind of inspired me and helped me like kind of keep going and kind of find the groove of and so on. And then also kind of looking for constant inspiration of like where do I want to take it, and kind of like I'm probably jumping ahead to a couple questions, but I the it took a lot of it took some time to actually kind of craft like what I'd say is my style, and kind of like it's like great, I love trance music, and trying to actually figure out how you put together a set, and how do you, and like what's your sound is and what you're going to do there. So it took there's a lot of time. There's been a lot of, you could actually the VODs aren't up anymore, but you could actually chart my progress all on Twitch.
I see. So then, can you tell us a little bit about some of the techniques that you've been utilizing in your mixing?
So some of the techniques I use is, I'd say, sometimes the basics and simplicity are what are the most interesting. And not there's different sets, of course, but particularly when you're doing like house and trance music, sometimes I use a lot of EQ switches, and then like vertical fade transitions and so on. But I'm very low on using effects. Where effects are great in moderation, and for when you use them for great effect. If you use them too much, it can be very gimmicky. But when you're doing like trance music, frequently what you want to do is actually blend. You want to have nice long blends of the tracks together and have them just float. And so that's the style that really kind of drive. So you always want to match your style of mixing to the music you're working with.
So you kind of briefly touched on it, but what are some of the hardware and softwares that you use to make your stuff?
So I'm actually still using the first mixer I've ever owned, and it's a Pioneer DDJ 400. It's a basic 2-channel mixer that was recommended to me. And then with that, I use a record box from Pioneer. It's the starter entry to the club standard.
Simple but effective.
Simple but effective. I mean, it's it's good to get you a lot. I've been DJing for 4 years, Yes, I've been I've been DJing for 4 years. And a DDJ 400 has lasted me this long. Now it's starting time to be great for an upgrade, but yeah, that's what I've been using so far.
So, obviously, you've done quite a lot of things in the DJing community. What is a piece of advice you can give to someone looking to start DJing?
Everything comes down to the music. It'd be my advice for cooking. Start with great ingredients, and from there you can blend it. If you start with bad, or if you start with mediocre music, there's only so much you can do with it to try to make it into a set. But if you start with great music and you put it in a logical order, and logic, flow, and energy levels, I'd say that's when you put it all together, you start with the pieces and you arrange it correctly. The mix, sometimes the songs mix themselves. It will just feel like it goes together. That's the key, in my opinion. You can don't get bogged down with overly complex techniques or tricks. But if you start with good music that's arranged well, of high quality, you have a good starting point.
Great. Thank you so much for sitting down with us this evening and giving us your advice and telling us a little bit about yourself. Once again, thank you, and I think your set's going to be great at Furality Umbra.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
All right, that's it for the show, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.